Hi there everyone. So in December, end of December, in fact Christmas, I'll be launching those courses on the Rideshare driving school. And a question that I get from many people is, how do I build out a fleet of cars? If you had the money set aside and you were investing in apartments or houses and you were renting them out, right? And you were getting in tenants, of course, you have to deal with the maintenance issues, you'd have to deal with evictions, and of course you'd have to have a lot of money up front to even get involved in that game. So it's far easier if you look at the rideshare business and you start your own fleet. Okay, so granted, you want to know everything about this business. You start off in UberX, you learn all the ins and outs. Let's say you lease or buy a small little Honda Civic or an UberX, you get involved and you sort of see what you can learn. Now, of course, you could go out and buy Toyota Priuses or Nissan Leafs, whatever the case may be, and you could lease these out and you could make some pretty substantial profits from leasing out these vehicles to UberX drivers. However, at that moment, you are competing with Uber, the Uber lease program, you are competing with Hertz Rentals, and you are competing with Hertz Enterprise. Let's just take Hertz Enterprise, let's just take the Enterprise model. They would give you a Toyota Corolla, let's say at about $250 per week. That car would cost you $1,000. Now, if you were to pick up used vehicles, a Prius or a Civic or a Leaf, and you were leasing them out at $600 per month, these guys would knock your doors down. You would be making serious money, and just look at the return of investment. If you're leasing that out at $600 per month times 12 months, you basically, let's simple math, you're generating $7,200, right? So in this case today, I wanted to show you the Suburban versus Escalade model. Now, in certain markets, let's take Los Angeles where I am, this vehicle has basically reached max capacity. That means Uber is not allowing this vehicle in the LA market anymore. The same goes for Orange County, the same goes for San Francisco. There's just simply too many of these SUVs on the road. Why? Well, this car is a real moneymaker. I mean, you could make anywhere from $1,200 to $2,500 per week if you work this vehicle properly, because it qualifies as black and SUV. Some people even go as far as registering these vehicles in Excel to stay very, very busy. So, of course, if you are trying to enter the LA market with an SUV, forget it. You're just going to walk into a closed door. Uber is going to deny you, but there are many people that sit on these licenses because they have been in there from day one, and some of them own multiple vehicles and lease them out per week. Okay, and in LA you would be picking up a Suburban anywhere from $500 to $650 per week. Let's work on 500. If you multiply that by 4 weeks, that's $2,000 a month times 12 months. That's $24,000. You can pick up that Suburban new. It'll set you back at about $49,000. You could pick up that Suburban at an auction. If you know what you're doing, you could pick up that Suburban right over there for about $20,000. It looks completely different in the Escalade class. Now that car would run anywhere from $70,000 to $75,000. If you really kit it out, you're looking at $80,000. That's $30,000 more than the Suburban. So why, I'm asking you, why am I spending $30,000 more for a car that does the very same job? It just doesn't make sense. It does make sense if you intend to build out your private limo company and you really want top-notch passengers, CEOs, actors, actresses, sports stars, politicians, you name it, they will enjoy the Escalade over the Suburban. That's a fact, and it may well be worth investing that $30,000 more. Now that car, the Escalade, you should be picking up at the auction for about $35,000 in good condition, fairly low mileage. So you're looking at $20,000 for the Suburban at an auction, or about $35,000 or $35,000 to $40,000 for the Escalade, right? If you crunch the numbers, let's say that Suburban at $500 per week over 1 year will generate $24,000. Over 2 years, it'll generate $48,000 of income. That's just leasing it out. Now, that's not taking into consideration what costs are associated with that car. If you're looking at a whole fleet of vehicles and you have to get a commercial insurance for all your vehicles, on 15 cars, that could easily run you between $9,500 to $10,000 per year, right? That's just on the insurance alone. Then you're looking at about at least another $1,500 per year on the state's licensing requirements to operate that as a limo. Now, you could serve a dual purpose with that license, because you could be driving for, Uber SUV and Black. You could also drop that car into Lyft Premier and Lyft Plus, and you could also have your own LLC set up. You could have your own little company, your limo company set up. So there's so many ways of maximizing that vehicle and maximizing the income. Soon, Juno is joining the mix, and who knows, I'm sure they're coming out with a great SUV category. That would be a fantastic time to jump in, because like I said, and I'm repeating myself here, Uber SUV is shut down in many, many markets. Now, if I look at the Suburban, that's where I have the most knowledge. You may encounter some transmission problems around the 150,000-160,000 mile mark. You want to try and get at least 2, 3, at max 4 good years out of your Suburban. Now, if you have synthetic oil changes, you make sure that you really look after those brakes, you look after the tires. Let's say you do all your services and you're totally on top of the game. That car will get you a good 4 years, right? You'll be generating anywhere 3 to 4 years, $72,000 to, let's say, $96,000 from that vehicle. After that, you can put it back on the market for almost the very same price you paid for that car at the auction, okay? After 2, 3, 4 years, you could put that car back on the market for about $15,000 to $20,000, right? The very same price you paid cash at an auction, okay? So do the numbers for the Suburban, do the numbers for the Escalade, consider all those repairs that you have to do. Every few thousand miles, you're looking at a synthetic oil change. Every few months, you're going to be doing the brakes. Every 5, 6, 7 months, you may want to rotate the tires or buy new tires. These are basically costs associated with the car. You've got your cleaning expenses, you have your DMV, your license expenses, of course you have your insurance, you have your TCP, your state required licensing. So there are quite a few costs associated per car, but the return of investment on this car is insane. This is an absolute moneymaker. So if you want to climb the Uber or the Lyft or the Rideshare ladder, I would work my way up, like I've suggested to many people out there. You start off with the UberX. You get your feet wet, you learn the ropes, you then step it up to an XL, maybe you jump up to a Select, you get yourself a nice little BMW 3 Series, and then you can work your way up to SUV. Right now, the SUV crowd, the clientele is very, very different to the UberX crowd. UberX, Lyft Regular, these are people looking for an economy ride, a cheaper alternative to a taxi, and you're going to have students, etc., booking those type of vehicles. With a Suburban or with an Escalade, you'll have a lot of people conducting business meetings in your car. There'll be CEOs, I'm repeating myself here, politicians, rock stars, sports people, you name it. You'll have everyone and anyone in your car, right? Now, I already said fantastic return on investment. Whether you buy this car new or whether you get it at an auction, you can do the numbers I showed you, but always take into consideration you're going to be looking at that The commercial insurance, you're going to be looking at the licensing with your state. Those are costs that are just simply there. And then depending on how many vehicles you have in your fleet, that figure is going to start to grow. Plus all your overheads, your repairs, etc., etc. But when you add it all up and you deduct all those costs and fees, you're going to be smiling, believe me. Right? Now, I will also introduce you to other vehicles. I want to talk about this Nissan Leaf and what that could possibly bring on returns. I'll make another video, you can check it out. But if you're interested in my Rideshare driving school, I will talk about this in great length, how to build out a fleet, how to really turn this into a business. I give you some real figures, show you numbers that these drivers get per week in these categories. And when you are an Uber partner and you have a fleet and you have multiple cars and multiple drivers in your account, this is how it works in a nutshell. We'll go into much more detail in the course. But Uber will pay you out first. So let's say you have 3 people generating $1,500 per week, 3 of your drivers. You're leasing out the vehicle at $500, right? That means you get $4,500 from Uber for those 3 drivers. You will then deduct those 3 times $500 lease fees, that $1,500, and you will pay out to your drivers $1,000. You'll pay out $3,000. That's pretty much how the model works. Okay. The same if you have multiple Uber X's that you are leasing out, or Priuses, or Leafs, or Civics, whatever the case may be. Obviously the numbers are a little different, but that formula is how Uber has set up the Uber partner or the fleet accounts, right? The course will be available in December, so check it out. I will release a video and let you know when you can sign up for the course. Have a fantastic day.